Every modern city is built on an invisible agreement, a promise that no one consciously signs, yet everyone depends on. That water will arrive when the tap is opened. That energy will remain stable, silent, and permanent. That food will appear on shelves exactly when expected. That transportation will function without interruption. Modern life assumes continuity, and as long as this continuity holds, cities appear strong, efficient, advanced, unbreakable. But this strength is an illusion, because the moment continuity breaks, not partially but systemically, cities do not bend, they fracture. And when they fracture, collapse is not slow, it is sudden. One system failing can be absorbed. Emergency protocols activate. Temporary solutions compensate. Backup systems engage. But when two systems fail at once, strain emerges. When three fail, control weakens. When four fail simultaneously, cities do not adapt. They shut down. This fragility is often blamed on scale, on population density, on climate stress, on resource scarcity, on human numbers exceeding planetary limits. But history does not support this explanation. Ancient cities were dense. Some were denser than modern metropolitan centers, yet they endured for centuries, sometimes for over a millennium. Density alone does not cause collapse, design does. Ancient cities were not designed for speed. They were designed for continuity. Their architects did not ask how fast resources could move. They asked how long life could be sustained under stress. Stability during crisis mattered more than efficiency during calm. This distinction is critical. The dark network did not analyze ancient cities as archaeological ruins. We analyzed them as operational systems, as living frameworks engineered to survive instability. And what emerged from this analysis was not random variation. It was pattern. Across civilizations separated by oceans, languages, and centuries, the same structural logic appeared again and again. Ancient cities distributed risk. Survival was never dependent on a single system. Water was the first layer of this logic. In ancient cities, water was not controlled by one source. It flowed through layered networks beneath streets, courtyards, and walls. Channels overlapped, paths intersected. Redundancy was deliberate. If one channel failed, another compensated. If a source dried, stored reserves activated. Storage existed at multiple scales, inside individual homes, within neighborhoods, across districts. No single reservoir determined survival. No central point could be captured, destroyed, or sabotaged to end life entirely. This was not inefficiency. It was resilience. Energy followed the same logic. Ancient cities did not generate power centrally. They embedded energy into the environment itself. Mechanical systems driven by gravity, water flow, and thermal difference operated silently. Water wheels turned without fuel. Thermal circulation moved air without electricity. Gravity-fed systems delivered force without motors. Energy was local, passive, integrated directly into architecture. If one mechanism failed, others continued. There was no grid to collapse, no single failure cascade. Food systems were equally distributed. Storage existed inside the city, not outside it. Granaries were embedded within neighborhoods. Markets were local. Supply chains were short. Cities could survive trade disruption. They could endure siege. They could absorb drought because survival did not depend on distant logistics. Movement through ancient cities followed the same principle. There was no single corridor that determined mobility. Streets were narrow and interconnected. Paths overlapped. Routes multiplied. Shade was engineered through orientation and mass. Heat was managed architecturally, not mechanically. Airflow moved naturally. Cities cooled themselves. Ancient urban design treated the city as a living organism. Modern cities treat the city as a machine, and machines are efficient. But machines fail catastrophically. Living systems adapt. Ancient cities anticipated stress. They expected instability, seasonal drought, heat waves, political conflict, trade disruption, siege. These were not exceptions. They were assumptions. Modern cities assume stability. They are built on the belief that interruption is rare, that failure is temporary, that systems will always be restored. And when crisis arrives, reaction replaces preparation. This difference explains why modern urban collapse feels sudden. Archaeological layers tell a consistent story. Ancient cities functioned for centuries without uncontrolled expansion. Growth was regulated. Density had limits. Infrastructure scaled gradually. When pressure increased, cities contracted. They reorganized. They adapted. Modern cities expand rapidly. Population grows faster than infrastructure. Redundancy is removed to reduce cost. Margins disappear. Efficiency replaces resilience. The dark network identified a recurring pattern across collapsed civilizations. Collapse often followed a specific sequence. Distributed systems were simplified. Water networks were centralized. Energy production consolidated. Food storage externalized. Collapse followed design change, not climate shift, not population spike, design change. Ancient resilience was not accidental. It was engineered. Street orientation controlled airflow. Building mass regulated temperature. Courtyards distributed light and heat. Subterranean spaces stabilized climate year-round. These features were not decorative. They were survival mechanisms. Modern cities externalize these functions. Climate control depends on energy. Food depends on logistics. Water depends on pumps. When energy fails, everything fails. Pumps stop, refrigeration ends, transportation halts, failure cascades. Ancient cities failed differently. They did not collapse instantly. They contracted, they adapted, they reorganized. Life continued at reduced capacity. This is the difference between resilience and efficiency. Ancient cities optimized for resilience. Modern cities optimize for throughput. Throughput increases output. Resilience preserves life. The removal of ancient urban systems was not driven by ignorance. It was driven by control. Centralized systems are easier to regulate, easier to tax, easier to monitor, easier to monetize. Distributed systems resist authority. They resist standardization. They resist total control. As states expanded, cities transformed. They became administrative centers, not survival systems. Efficiency replaced redundancy. Control replaced resilience. The consequences are visible today. Heat waves shut down cities. Power failures cascade across regions. Water access becomes conditional. Food shortages propagate in hours. Ancient cities experienced these stresses. They endured. The past did not lack technology. It lacked our obsession with optimization. Urban collapse is not inevitable. It is designed. This file documents the design choices that created modern urban fragility. Analysis complete. The file remains open. Subscribe to Dark History Files to access the next erased system. The system relies on silence. Do not give it what it wants.